Cool. So welcome to the second ever 3D printing lady live stream, where we talk about 3D printing and other things. Let's just go around and introduce everyone. I'm Claire. I am a student, and probably in January, I got super into 3D printing. And then in March, I'm like, oh, I should start making videos about this. And now I make videos on YouTube about 3D printing, and I mostly still don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, and I started this because when I was looking at videos on YouTube, I couldn't find a ton with women in them. And there's less than 10 YouTube videos with women, or channels that by women essentially. And there's only like 100 ones of 3D printing anyway, so it's not really that bad of a statistic, but just kind of just bring the community together and find common ground on stuff. So Sam, why don't you go next and introduce yourself and like how you got here?
I'm Sam. I'm in California, San Jose. I got into 3D printing in college because I was majoring in computer graphics, which is basically CAD. So all the CAD stuff I was making was really cool, but not necessarily existing outside of my CAD software. So there was that Make magazine article with the MakerBot on the cover I saw. And it was like an aha moment of, okay, here's a way to bring all of my CAD into real life. And so since then, I've gathered a lot of 3D printers and worked with them a bunch.
Yeah, whoever wants to go next.
Yeah, maybe I will. Okay, so I'm Katja. I'm living in a very tiny country called Liechtenstein, and I got into 3D printing in February because I wanted to I built a Delta printer together with a guy called Ryan, the 3D printed Usby on Twitter and also YouTube. And so, yeah, it was lots of fun. And since then, I'm, really tinkering around, trying stuff. And yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy roller coaster ride.
Lauren, why don't you go next? I don't know where, I think Molly had to sneak out really quick.
Okay, sorry I was a little late, guys. I am Lauren from Abuzz Designs, and are we just doing introductions because I missed the very beginning? Yes? Okay.
Sorry, my Microsoft, yes.
Okay. So I got into 3D printing because I wanted to create a coffee table, and 3D printing seemed like the best way to do that. So I bought the Flash Forge, which is sitting next to me, and just started designing. My original background is in architecture and interior design, and so it kind of worked well for me to do that, and 3D printing seemed like the best way to get into it. So that's where I started. So on YouTube, I show how to design your own things and how I print them, and kind of help you through what filaments I use, what printers I use, and why.
So you got the Flash Forge Creator Pro or just the Flash Forge?
The Flash Forge Creator Pro.
Hello.
Hey, Molly, how about you?
I was online earlier and I looked at
Molly, introduce yourself and talk about like how you got into 3D printing.
Okay, hello, I am Molly from Newport North 3D Printing. I got into 3D printing about a year ago, 2 years ago, in 2015, when I first moved into my house after I moved away from Myrtle Beach. My dad, I think, was in a contest and he won 150. Is called Neo, and he wanted to make a YouTube. So we usually say like, "Kid, right?"
Oh, Molly, are you frozen?
him or her porn. And so we wanted to find a media 3D. We just got started, did all sorts of reviews, and since we got a little bit began to do lots of and certain designs and models that they wanted to make like a 3D printer. He's making a 3D printer. And I was
Yeah, Molly, your connection is really bad. Like I didn't catch all of that. Nope. Nope. Okay. I think Molly is having some internet issues. Nope.
And maybe is she on Wi-Fi or is she connected by LAN cable?
They're all glitching out. It's not just you.
Yeah.
Bear with us, some technical difficulties.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. Molly, why don't you figure out what is happening with your computer, because we can't understand anything you're saying.
Need me to say that again?
Yeah, I can't understand anything you're saying. You might try leaving the chat and coming back in. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe relaunching it.
Yeah. Okay, while Molly's figuring that out, let us move on to today's thing. Kind of what Samantha said, and kind of what I was thinking is, I was talking to someone who also does 3D printing at my school, and I was showing them like all like the weird things like I model, and like I made like, you know, a pin that has different layers of colors, and they're like, oh, like I don't really make things like that. Like I kind of just like, you know, print parts. And so I think it's interesting that there's kind of these two sides where it's like some people see 3D printers as just like a machine and it makes parts for things, and it's like very engineering based. And there's kind of this other side, and all these people like 3D modeling and they like use it basically as an art form. So I guess the question is kind of like, what do you like about 3D printing, and like how do you use it to do the things you like? Why don't actually you start, Samantha, because you're talking about like architecture and stuff like that, and kind of like where you started there.
Yeah, so I come from kind of the mechanical kind of side, but I also do a lot of design work, and so I like more design aspects of 3D printing. The stuff I make is probably more artistic, and it's really neat. 3D printing is kind of like a good way for both of those to merge, for both the kind of the creative artistic side of things and then also like functional engineering parts. But yeah, a lot of people just use them for making like, you know, I made this ratcheting screwdriver, but there's a lot of really cool wearables and all sorts of really neat artistic things that people are going. I like to go on Instagram and just browse like hashtags forever to see what cool, crazy 3D printed art stuff is going on. If you guys are familiar with Nervous Systems, she makes 3D printed dresses and jewelry. It's definitely one of my biggest inspirations for that.
That sounds fantastic. Yeah, so like what are some projects you do? Because I don't know anything about you, Samantha. I'm sorry.
Let's see, this week I made a 3D printed watch band. That was the project for the week. So that was a fun little, I'm gonna learn Fusion 360 and how to do it. I'm gonna make something fun. Also I had some new filament. That was the flexible filament I wanted to try out. So in Fusion, I made a little S-band, and Adafruit had a part already with a download that was parametric. So for all the sizing and stuff, you could edit their model And so based off that, I modeled the watch band.
Oh, so you had like the watch, like this part essentially, and you just model the thing around it.
Yeah, so you can download the watch like already modeled around, and then you kind of edit the parts you want, or you can just like.
I keep buying these like dollar store watches, and I need to get a real watch. I think I might try and make one. So that's a good idea. Did you use like flexible filament?
Yeah, I used the flexible filament.
Okay.
This is the semi-flex now. I'm still working out the flexible one. I don't have my settings dialed in yet.
I'm like scared to jump to flexible filament because also apparently there's an issue where it can fuse to your bed, which I'm not sure about.
It's been pretty good. You can see like it kind of gets like squished up in the tube sometimes. I need to just like clamp it down more so it'll feed. If anyone's got really good settings, I'm totally open to trying them out.
I hear that the fusing issue is with PEI. So if you're using PEI, you might want to try to find something else to print on. But if you're printing on glass, I've never had a problem with flexibles on glass.
Yeah, because we have the Task 6, which is a PEI bed, like built in. So
I'm sure there are ways around it, but I've never used PEI, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. Molly, you're back.
Yes, my connection is still kind of bad. I mean, it works, but the thing that happened was my fire alarm just started going off at random, and there was no fire. It's just like, so I hear it in my room, and it makes my connection go bad, so I'm like, really, now? No! I think I need a new one again. That happened last year.
Molly, why don't you talk about kind of like what is like your favorite thing about 3D printing and why you like it? Because earlier you were talking about your business with your dad and stuff.
Yeah. I have to say my favorite thing about 3D printing is exploring a whole new world where you get to make all sorts of stuff imaginable, you know? Like, people create all sorts of stuff every day. Seriously. And it could be like you never heard of it, you heard of it, it's like a trend, but it could also be like it's just an imagination. And yes, they are. Especially because one of them is right here in this chat.
No, we have 2 cats in this chat. We have 3 cats in this chat if you count Cat.
So my cat loves.
I wish I still had my cat, but she died like 3 years ago.
I'm sorry, I keep getting distracted by this computer. Kat, why don't you talk about like kind of how you use 3D printing? Because you're talking about how you're interested in like CNC stuff, and that kind of that's how you got into it. Oh, Kat, I think your mic is off. Oh, no, we still can't hear you, Kat.
Her mic isn't off. I don't see the mic button on. I wonder if her mic, she is, I don't know what happened.
Classic Google Hangouts, am I right?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, well, I'll jump in since we're having some technical difficulties. So I get really, really excited with 3D printing about what I can create. So I know that a lot of people like the tinkering side of things with the machines themselves, and that's not so much me. I do like fixing machines because it teaches me more about the printers themselves. But in terms of why I like 3D printing, it's because it allows me to take things that are in my head and create tangible objects. And I think that that is an incredibly empowering experience to have an idea and then to figure out how to model that idea in some sort of program and then have that tangible object in your hands is insanely awesome. And I highly think every single person who is watching this should definitely try it at least once. Because it's one thing to print other people's objects, but when you print something that's your own, it just really opens the possibilities up even more than you could have ever imagined.
Yeah, when I printed, so I've modeled a couple things. The first thing that I was actually proud that I modeled is I went in Sculptress and modeled like a little sloth that hugs onto pencils and stuff. And when I printed it, I was like, I am a god. I can do anything now. This is insane. I'm living in the future. I don't know what's happening. And yeah, it kind of makes me, so like at my school, all the 3D printers are in like the mechanical engineering department, the electrical engineering department. I'm like, we need to get these into, 3D design because this would blow all their minds and they would love this. But it's interesting that it's not marketed towards that. And I think that's really weird.
Okay, so I'm back again. My microphone didn't react. I couldn't get it back on, so I had to
What
refresh the
about you,
browser.
3D printing?
Who is that?
What'd you say, Molly?
Molly wanted Samantha to say something.
Oh.
I was wondering how Sam got into 3D printing.
Oh, so my first internship, I saved up and I got the MakerBot cupcake. So I found whoever I could to teach me to solder and help me to build it.
Yeah.
So from then, I made there's like the little dodecahedron and showed it to everyone. And from there, I worked with industrial machines, like the metal 3D printers and polyjet machines. And I've bought a lot of 3D printers since. But for now, I'm mostly doing just my own CAD stuff for fun. And then I also teach kids and high schoolers about 3D printing and CAD.
Wow, that's awesome.
So Kat, why don't you tell us about what you love about 3D printing?
Yeah, so at work, I'm a dental technician, also a course instructor. And there we have CNC machines to make crowns and bridge work. And so this is where I got in touch with the whole topic of 3D.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
and then I thought at home, okay, it would be cool to use that kind of method too.
Kind of live stream it like a woman.
What? I don't understand you, Molly. Oh, she's away again. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I have in the meantime I have 3 printers but I'm still trying stuff, printing out lots of stuff here and testing and yeah. But I also want to design stuff in the future. I already, when we were still offline chatting with each other, I showed this here. This is a little first thing that I tried. Preston, he asked people to design a skateboard holder. And I thought, why does a skateboard holder always have to look like a skateboard holder? And I thought, okay, let's make it a little bit different. But it's not finished yet. The hole isn't deep enough. So, the wheels should hang in here and this kind of thing here. Yeah,
It's the best thing about printing is that it's iterative. So you print that, you see, okay, just need to tweak this, and then you get to print more stuff.
Yeah.
What did you design it in, Kat?
I use Tinkercad, I think that's the easiest way to start off.
Tinkercad's honestly great.
It is. I don't think people give it as much credit as it deserves.
I just started not using Tinkercad. I still use it though sometimes. But I think I need to move. I think I need to push myself to use 3D Fusion because you can do a lot more of that. And as far as doing measured things, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, Fusion and Onshape have gotten really good recently.
Yeah, I want to use Fusion 360, but I think I have to join an online course or something because.
Yes.
I watched one of my friends wanted me to make them a fidget spinner, and so I watched the video that Jill Telling put out about modeling it in there, and so I'm just gonna make myself model this in this program, and then I'll know how to do it. And so that was like the first thing I made in it. And I was like, oh.
Sam and Cat. I didn't born.
Oh,
Oh no, you're
Claire.
lucky.
what? Molly, we still can't understand you. You're cutting out too much. Oh, Google Hangouts. Classic.
Jay Wall, Print That Thing, just said that there's a Tinkercad contest on My Mini Factory right now. So you guys might want to enter that because that would be awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
There was one for like, I think it's like, there's one for like planters, fidget spinners. I bookmarked it. I was super pumped about that. I totally forgot. There's a lot of 3D printing design contests. There was just one for like Instructables that I had just missed. I'm looking at it right now. Anyways. So yeah.
I have a question because recently I ordered lots of samples from Form Futura because I have a project that I'm going to work on. I want to make some lampshades in black, but not shiny. It has to be a silky black, and so I bought some probes from Form Futura, and they sent me this sample for free. But it has 2.85. Can anybody use this?
I can.
Okay, so yeah, give me your address. I don't know how we're gonna do this, but maybe on Twitter or something. Yeah, you can have it. It's skin tone or light. Yeah, kind of pink. I don't know.
Oh man,
maybe you want to try it.
Filament lately.
Yay, my connection works! And I'm not.
Oh, Molly! Cool.
Okay, I'm back. Everything is working. Yes.
Yeah.
I am so happy because like it wasn't working upstairs, so now I'm just like.
Cool.
Okay, so what were we talking about?
Kat was just showing us some of the projects she's working on. Can we start like a filament? Like this might not only work for people who live close enough together, but can we start like a filament swap? Because I've been trying to get yellow filament and I don't want to buy an entire ream and to like buy a sample. The sample is essentially the same price as the shipping for me.
Yeah, what machines do you guys have? That way we can figure out who can use what.
We have 3 TAS 6s, but like I've run like, it's supposed to be 3 millimeter, but I've used like 1.75 before and it was fine.
Yeah, I only have 1.75, so this is why I'm giving this away.
Yeah.
Well, I have a Neo, and my dad is trying to build a D-Bot. He's going to finish it soon, hopefully.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Molly, now that we have a solid connection from you, do you want to talk about more about what we were talking about before?
Oh, like how I got into 3D printing?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me introduce myself like she said so that other people can see. Hello, I am Molly from Newport North 3D Printing, and I got into 3D printing when I moved in 2015 to my house before this house. And my dad was in a contest and he won a $100 3D printer called a Neo. That's when we wanted to start a YouTube channel about 3D printing. So we were trying to figure out a name. So what he always wanted, okay, let me explain this. I had a video about it, but I don't think you guys will be able to watch it during our live stream. I would always come home and tell stories about how my friend or my friend's friend would do something cool, and they wanted a name for them, so they just chose a random name, and they called it Portnoy, which I thought it was weird, but I got used to it over time, and we actually found out that there's actually, I think, a conductor, I think, in a band actually called Portnoy. His name is Portnoy. It's weird. And I thought, well, if we have the Neo printer, why don't we put Neo in front of it? So that's how we got our name, Neo Portnoy. Well, and that's when we came to this house in his man cave or his garage. He has so many 3D printed things around here. Literally, I can go over to the place. There's stuff everywhere. Like, hold on, let me show you a couple of things. This. It's made of blue flexible filament. I like squeezing that thing. He made a green Hulk, a green Frankenstein. Oh, I love this one. It's just a giraffe. I think his name is Nico, like those little chubby little characters. And we have made so many, if I can put it back up there. And so then when we went to Mini Maker Faire, we were handing out Maker coins. And Mini Maker Faire, I think, was last month. And we went to, like I said, Mini Maker Faire in Colombia, and we were handing them out there in color-changing filament. And I think my dad still has some left. But then we got into fidget spinner trend time, and then we got into the fidget spinner business. And we sell 3D printed fidget spinners for $5. And I don't know if I'll be able to give you one because I don't know how far away you live. So, like, and then we just got into that business, and my dad uses very expensive, like, bearings, so that's why he costs $5 for them. And he uses Onshape to design fidget spinners. So he has two types. One of them is called Jester, and one of them is called Flag. A lot of my friends have got Flag and Jester, and I have to say, Jester's my favorite, which is the yellow one that I showed you. That's Jester. Flag, let me see if he has one.
Molly is so cute.
Okay, no, he doesn't. So we just have these two others.
Okay, Molly. I have a proposal for you. So you're saying your dad only has 2 designs. What I think you guys need to diversify. And right now, I don't know if you caught this because you were trying to fix your computer, but my mini factory is having a contest where you design things in Tinkercad and you can win stuff. And one of the sections is fidget spinner. So I think you should design a fidget spinner in Tinkercad, enter it in the contest, and then you and your dad can sell it. Then you'll have another product.
Let me go grab him and
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we should probably grab a couple questions because there are a couple in the chat. And one of the questions that Heather had is, what are we currently working on? So that's a great thing for Molly to start working on. What is everybody else working on right now?
I can hop in on this one. So we just got back from Maker Faire. It was about 2 weekends ago in the Bay Area, and one of the things that was really cool there was the pinball museum displays. So they had all of the different, how it works, little actuators. And so my husband and I were talking about, wouldn't it be cool if you could do 2-player pinball? So we've been looking at how to do that with laser cut board, 3D printed, maybe little targets and stuff.
That would be epically amazing, and I want one already.
I feel like
that's cool.
there's stuff for this.
Claire, what are you working on right now?
So I have a couple things. I have a couple things in the mix. One is I'm trying to figure out a good system for converting PNGs and flat images for 3D printing. There's a couple, like there's a Inkscape, which you can convert a PNG to an SVG, and then from an SVG to a 3D image. And so there's a lot of different programs. So I'm trying to figure out what the best ones are, and I'll probably make a video on that system because I know that's a thing. We're like, oh, I want to 3D print my logo. Like, how do I do this? I only have a PNG that I designed in Photoshop. And the other thing I want to do is I want to make a video called laser cutting for the home, because there's a lot of things I think I should laser cut for my apartment. Like this morning, I opened my bathroom drawer and it's just like crap everywhere, right? And I'm like, I should just laser cut like custom things to put in here and separate them. Or like we have a futon, so I think I might laser cut like a table for it. I don't know. There's a lot of dumb things I think I need to laser cut.
Trust me, me too. I have crap everywhere. My dad can agree.
Yeah, I have a idea, but I don't know if I can handle it because yeah, I still need the machines to do so. Recently, I bought a bigger 3D printer, and I still have this housing, you know, the box that it came in, and it's a huge wooden box, and my laptop is sitting now on top of it. And I would like to upcycle it to use it as a cabinet to store all my filament inside. And I measured already, and I could put in there like 54 spools of filament, and then put the printer on top. You know, like open up the cabinet and pull out like drawers, and inside are all the spools.
I want one
Sounds cool. Sounds cool, huh?
Are you going to put anything for like humidifier in there? Because I had a problem a while ago where my filament was starting to get brittle because it absorbs the humidity. And so I've got a bunch of those little like silica packets and threw them in my drawer, but I don't think it's quite enough.
I think I would leave them in their plastic bag, because wood it's not easy to you know, to isolate.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Lauren, what are you working on right now? Are you still working on high heels? Because I want it to happen.
Yeah, I am. I have a pair of shoes now that I can tear apart. So that's kind of what was holding me back, is I didn't want to tear apart my favorite shoes as much as I would like to, because I would rather duplicate something I know I love in terms of like heel height and platform height and stuff like that. I don't want to tear apart my favorites. So until those are dead and have seen better days, I got a pair of cheap heels that I don't care about, and I'm going to start taking them apart, because although I want the majority of the base of it to be 3D printed, I still want a fabric or flexible upper. And I think I'm going to do an actual fabric upper on one, and then maybe a 3D printed flexible part on another. So I need to see how shoes are actually constructed, because I have never really thought about it before. So I have the basic heel design done, and I've done a couple different ones that are kind of cool, but that's as far as I've gotten so far. And hopefully I'll be doing like a couple more series of that. I do have to finish the coffee table still. So after I get done with this, I'm going to go downstairs and put the final coats of spray paint on so that I can upload that video, and then I can get started on the high heel series. So that will be coming soon, I promise.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, sounds really, really cool.
How long have you been working on that table? It's been more than a year.
I started it back in, I think, March or April of last year. And that was like the very beginning of designing it. It's so far taken just over 500 hours, which is really not that much, but I get to the point where I get sick of staring at gears. So I have to put it down and walk away and go to something else. And that's what happened after Murph. I was just kind of, because I was like working on it every single day, and I just kind of got sick of staring at it for a while. So I put it down, and now that things have kind of gone back to normal, I can actually get back into working on it. So it's so close to being done at this point that I just need to finish it. It's like that close, seriously.
I can't wait to see it with a glass on top of it. Maybe in your living room with a sofa. That would be so cool.
Right. Yeah. And I need to order the glass is what I need to do as well. And then I'm also looking at having it cast in aluminum. So I'll see what that will be as well, because I think that would make for a really cool piece if it was actually metal.
I don't know if you said so, but what color are you spray painting your 3D printed coffee table? I don't know. I was kind of not listening. I heard, but
I'm painting a couple different shades of brown. So the first layer is 2 layers of filler primer, and then I sand that a little bit, and then there's a coat of a base like medium toned brown, and then I'm topping it with an oil rub bronze spray paint so that it's got kind of a more depth to the color. It's not quite so flat. So it's two
And
different
like
shades of brown.
Make it, and the brown would make it look wood-like too, so it'd be more of a real coffee table than if you like spray painted it blue or green.
Right, it's actually more of like a super dark brown, so it looks like iron almost, like a deep cast iron.
That reminds me, earlier we were in our garden and we found, like, I thought it was a bone because it was hard, but actually my dad gave it to my dad because it was like really heavy. We found it in the ground. I showed him it and he said, "This is raw iron." I'm like, can you get money off of that? He said very little, but I'm like, really, really, I want money off of this. I found iron in my yard. And I don't care if you're listening, Dad. This happened this morning.
So the coffee table is going to look a little bit like weathered.
Not
Like-
quite. Let me. It's actually just right over here. Let me grab it for you guys really quick.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you can.
Oh yeah, I want to see it. Oh wow, that's awesome.
Say something, Lauren.
I
so
don't
you come
know
on
if you'll
screen.
be able to see quite the color. It almost looks black on camera, but in person you can see a depth of color. There are parts of it that are much lighter in brown and parts of it that are much darker, and that's because I didn't do super thick coats of paint on it. Instead, I did a couple of much lighter coats, which allowed for more of the shades to pull through, making it look a little more realistic. I have thought about distressing it a little bit because I think that would look really cool, but I'm not quite sure if that will look the way that I really want it to. So this is one leg of two.
How do you get rid of the layering effects on those parts? Is that the primer and sanding, or more of one?
Yeah, I did a decent amount of sanding on it. Hours and hours and hours of sanding. And then I did 2 layers of the filler primer, and after each layer I did a little bit more sanding, and that definitely helped. On some of the edges you can still see it, but it's between the filler primer and the 3 layers of spray paint, you really barely can see it. So, and on this, it wouldn't, because it's such a large piece, it doesn't bother me. If it was a much smaller piece where it had a lot of detail, I probably would have printed it at a much smaller resolution to help.
Did you use 100% infill, or did you just do kind of thin?
I did 25% infill. I did a couple of tests on it to see where the strength was at with it, and about 25% infill kept the strength really good without wasting a lot of filament.
Has any parts broken off yet, or has it been fine?
It's been fine.
Good. We don't want a broken coffee table leg.
I just started printing or painting prints just like a month ago, and I didn't want to spend forever sanding, so I just kind of painted like directly over the layers you can kind of see. But some people said Bondo might work pretty well for filling those in. So I'm
I know a bunch of people really like using the Pro wood filler. Bondo can be really difficult to work with sometimes, and it really smells. But the Pro, I think it's the Elmer's Pro wood filler, doesn't have a smell to it, and it goes on really easily. And I've heard a lot of people are using that, but I have not had a chance to try it yet.
I'll try that out. I got a bunch of test parts that I'm just gonna like paint and try different textures to see how it looks.
Yeah, I also painted this ticker thing there. I have uploaded the video, and I thought I did enough sanding, but once the paint was on, all of a sudden all those lines, they came back. Yeah, so it's sanding is awful.
Yeah, the trade-off I wonder is, do I want my print to take like 24 hours, or do I want to spend 24 hours sanding?
Yeah, so I need to take a look at this filler primer and Elmer Pro wood filler stuff. I need to get something like that. Because I got this bear here, Winnie the Pooh, and I want to paint it, but yeah, I don't want to sand like crazy sounded down.
Why don't we hop over to some questions from the chat? One of them was, what do you think you can do to draw more attention to female demographic and get involved in 3D printing? I mean, it's kind of, we were talking about this earlier, that like, it's hard to tell because there doesn't seem like a lot of women in 3D printing, but also there's just not a lot that are like visible per se. Like I really don't know what the demographics are. Like Lauren, you went to Maker Faire, or like the big Maker Faire in, I guess, did you go to, Sam? Like what was the demographic like there? When you go there, it's just, you know, dudes as far as the eye could see, or did it seem pretty even, or?
That was one of the coolest things about Maker Faire this year, because I was paying attention to that. And it was everyone. Like, name a demographic and they were represented there. All ages, all backgrounds. It was really cool to see how broad appeal it has. I think it's mostly a representation thing. Because there's a lot of women doing really cool technical things, and there's a lot of women doing really cool artistic things, but we kind of do them in our own little circles, in our own little bubbles, and because there are less of us, it's great to have things like this where we can meet up and talk and kind of bring more attention that, hey, women do this stuff and women are making really neat things. So I think hangouts like this, there's a Women in 3D Printing group in the Bay Area that meets up pretty regularly, and that's been great just for networking and improving visibility.
Yeah, I was definitely surprised at Maker Faire how many different kinds of people were there. It really was everything goes, and that was really exciting to see. And the amount of young girls that were there was awesome. And so many of them came up to me to talk to me, and a lot of them are, you know, entrepreneurial and starting their own companies at, you know, ages 10 and 13. And that was amazing to see. And I think events like that really help women in the 3D printing community. But I think there's also a big difference between women in the community and women online in the community. We talked about this a little bit last night on the 3D printing hangout chat that happened. And I think that there's a big difference between that. And there are a ton of ladies into 3D printing and in the community itself, which was made fairly obvious when somebody posted that on the Facebook group that they felt like they were the only lady in there. And there was like a string of like 150 women that then chimed in that they were there too. And I think that's huge. But there's not a whole lot of us online. So I think that you kind of have to keep in mind that there are them out there. And I think the more that we are vocal online will also help maybe others be a little more vocal online, as well as just kind of bring more ladies out into the open as well. So I think if we just keep doing what we do and show that it is an awesome experience for us ladies too, that will definitely help.
Woo! Woo! Oh. Wow, that's great to hear that from a guy.
Who's that? Who's that?
That's my husband. He's over there. Where's the couch? Where's the couch? There it is.
Oh.
Over there. He's over there with the dog hanging out.
That was loud.
Yeah, you know how to project.
Yeah.
I think most of the women are just too shy. You know, I was too, and I never intended on going online. But then I thought, heck, why don't you just do it and give it a try, just to encourage other women to do the same. And I still don't feel very comfortable now. I'm getting a little bit more comfortable now on this live thing. But every time I record a video, it takes several takes until I like seeing myself, you know. But I think it's a good training, and I think, yeah, we could really encourage other ladies to try the same.
I think that I can agree with you, because like having a lot of practice with it, or more likely a lot of takes, is what happens a lot. I can agree very much.
I also think it's interesting that there's lots of, like, it is an accessibility thing, but a lot of people who are in 3D printing are like older, or because like obviously like a lot of people my age can't afford a 3D printer, and like I don't even have a 3D printer. I just use somebody else's. So I feel like I'm in this weird spot where like there's a lot of people like Molly's age who are super into 3D printing because, you know, their parents are, at their school they have it, and there's a lot of people who are older who have it, but I feel like there's just no one my age. Like, Sam, I think you're the person who's like maybe closest to my age that I've met. That's a girl.
Yeah, like Heather's daughter, because she's a little like me, I guess. Didn't she get it from her parents? Like her.
Yeah, I mean, both her parents are super into 3D printing, and so she's like learns it from them, which is super cool.
Yeah, and until the women in 3D printing meetups out here, I didn't really work with that many women doing the desktop hobby 3D printing. But what was really interesting is the first job I had, it was an internship in a rapid prototyping lab. The entire lab was women, and that was my first experience with 3D printing. So that was amazing to start with, the woman who ran the lab, and then one of the other girls there kind of mentored me to get me going in this. So there's a lot of women in 3D printing, but I think part of the way is a lot of the really expensive, nice 3D printers are locked away literally in labs without windows, and so it's hard to know where they are and how to reach them.
I don't, I think before my dad even got a 3D printer, I didn't even know what the heck 3D printing was. And I'm glad that most people start 3D printing in groups. Like, they may not know what it is, but they may, and they want to try it out for themselves. So they go to their friends for help, or random people. They go online, they make friends with them, and then they become, you know, 3D printing experts the next day. You get what I'm saying?
3D printing has so many quirks. It's so important to have resources to find out where tips and troubleshooting and just like, where do I get started?
That's where YouTube Friends comes in handy, especially like other social media websites, because you just ask a question, there'll be millions of chime-ins, like how Lauren was talking about, like that, wait, either it was Lauren or Claire, I forgot, but how that big stream, how like the girl thought she was the only girl doing 3D printing, and then how the whole another 150 messages came up like, I'm in here too, and that proves that there's more than just one person doing it that's your gender. I'm not trying to be like that, but women are important too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think as it just says it kind of involved, like it's still a very niche thing. I think as evolved, there'll be more people and more like diversity of people who are doing it, and that's like kind of part of the reason I want to start making videos, because I'm like, there's literally less than 10 YouTube channels dedicated to 3D printing that are run by a woman, which is like insane. And I think just having that representation is important, because then if somebody else sees that, they're like, oh, this person is doing it, and that person is like me, and I can identify with them, so now I'm gonna do it. Which is like important for anything, obviously, to have diversity.
I wish Heather was here. She knows a lot of stuff. I really wish.
Yeah, we miss
She's in the
Heather.
chat.
I miss her.
Yeah, we miss you, Heather. I hope you feel better soon.
Yeah, me too. I'm sad that you're sick. Because you're like, other than all the other people here and me, you're like one of the person that's always up on the chat. Because you always you always give the questions in the chat to answer so that we know what people are asking. But when you're not here, you have to ask it on the YouTube chat, which I really wish you were here.
I know, it's hard. I'm trying to keep up with both the chat and this chat, and it's very difficult. I think one of the other questions was where, let me find it again, I don't know where it went. Oh, have any of you traveled very far to go to a maker fair or any maker events?
Me.
Where have you gone?
I've only traveled to India, so I haven't traveled that far.
I went from Maine to California.
That's like across the country. This summer, I'm going all the way to Oregon from South Carolina.
Nice. Yeah, no, we went to Murph, which was in Indiana, from Maine, and then to Bay Area Maker Fair, and also to the Matter Hackers meetup down in LA. So we've done a couple. It's a lot of fun. It does get pricey to fly across the country. Yeah, luckily Delta screwed up on Nick's flight, so we were able to fly pretty cheap. But it's a lot of fun. It's a cool experience to go to somewhere that is completely different, and to see all of the different people converging together to celebrate something that you love as much as you do, it's a cool experience for sure.
Yeah, I'm planning to go to the New York Maker Faire. Still have to book the flight and the accommodation, but I'm kind of, yeah, looking forward to it very much. I hope some of you will drop by too.
When is that one?
In September.
It's the last weekend in September.
Yeah.
I sadly will not be in the country, so I won't be able to go, and I'm totally bummed. But Nick might go.
I'll be there.
Okay.
And luckily, I'm in San Jose, so going to Maker Faire was not too far for me.
No, so I'm in Washington, and I like didn't know it was a thing until the week before. I'm like, do I just want to fly down this weekend and go to it with zero plan on how to like stay there or anything? But I definitely want to go next year. There's a bunch of cool 3D printing things in California, and I'm pretty close, so
Come visit.
I know I want to. I'm trying to figure out how I can get to California this summer. I'll definitely be at Seattle Maker Faire Mini because I have to be there for work.
I would check out the Portland one. I've heard really good things about the Portland, Oregon one as well.
When I say I'm going to Oregon, I'm actually going to be very close to Portland. I'm thinking I'm going to be in Toledo, Oregon, because there's actually a place called Toledo, Oregon. And also, when I went to my mini Maker Faire, I really wish it was a Maker Faire, because, I mean, not saying that the mini Maker Faire is bad, but, like, it didn't have as cool stuff as you would see, you know, in China, or a Maker Faire you would see in the United States. We had ours in Colombia, about a 3-hour trip. It was not that bad of a drive, because we were just going through mountains and mountains. So, technically, we were just driving. And when we finally got there, we got to, like, you know about the biggest kid in the world? Like Ed Venture, like that place. Okay, it's a Colombian museum. It's a museum in Columbia, South Carolina, and there's this biggest kid in the world. You can climb through him, and you'll see the body. It creeped me when I walked past. I saw his heart and his lung. Then you have to crawl up, go see his brain. Go down, you see his stomach, and it really disturbed me. I don't like giant organs of the body, because I just like imagine being a surgeon and having to do giant surgery. Now that's disgusting if you don't like surgery games. So walked past it, finally went in there. I was like, this is cool. Walked down like, okay, that was really disgusting because it did not smell good in that place. In the body of the kid, it was like, why am I even going through a body of a kid? It's weird. And so it was all over the place. There's even like these cool kid exhibits because it was a kid museum of it. And sorry, my dad. Okay, and there is all sorts of cool stuff. Like we learned about like how you can fold actually like these cards, like business cards, into cubes. And there's like this gigantic cube, and his daughter was like a pro at it. And then we also saw like all other sorts of stuff. Like we met this lady about like how you can cut paper bags, cut them in half, and you can actually make string out of them, which you can make like hats and purses out of, and even rugs. We saw it. It was amazing, and all other sorts of cool stuff. I'm done now.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the Maker, this might not be true for all of them, but I know for I was looking at the demographics for Seattle Maker Faire, and it's like mostly kids, which I think is really cool. I don't know if that was true for other ones.
It totally reminded me of, there's a group here that's trying to make 3D printed organs. They're not very giant organs, but they're trying to 3D print like living cells and stuff, which is pretty cool for surgeons to work with. I don't know if that was in the exhibit, but I had a question related to that. What's the craziest 3D printer you guys have seen? Like candy printer, chocolate printer?
I've heard about that, but I haven't seen it.
The craziest thing I've ever seen is the string printer, this huge one.
Wait, string printer?
Yeah, so it doesn't have a housing. You just put strings in the wall, and then it floats like I don't know.
Oh, like a pen bot, but with a printer?
Yeah, it has a print head on the strings.
It's
This guy.
huge.
At a Maker Faire, but it wasn't a printer, it was just a pen.
Yeah, I don't know the guy. I don't remember where he came from. That was really crazy. I've seen it not in real life, but on YouTube. That's the
Thanks,
craziest one
Maddie.
I've ever
It's called
seen.
the hang printer.
Yeah, the hang printer.
Hang.
Yeah.
Have you seen the drawing bots where it's just like kind of 2 points and a pen and then it pulls either side?
They're like super cool, low tech.
Yeah, do that with a 3D pen.
I have
That
one.
would be cool. 3D pen. I really want to get a 3D pen, Molly. What kind do you have?
Let me go see. I forgot. Let me see. Where is it?
I mostly want a 3D pen so I can use it to fix all my failed prints because I think that would be very useful.
Yeah, that's a good idea. My problem with the 3D prints is I want them to be a little more precise, and then I'm back at 3D printer again.
Box.
Sam, print that thing is asking what your YouTube channel name is.
I don't have one yet. This is the first time I've been on YouTube, like ever. But you guys this is really inspiring to see all of your YouTube channels and stuff. So maybe I'll think about it.
Yeah, you should definitely get started.
Do it.
Yeah, I think I'm a couple months in, and I think just now I'm like making videos that I like. I'm like, I'm just gonna have to make a ton of videos that I absolutely hate, and then because that's just the process you have to go through. So
I got a GoPro a while back to do time lapse on my printer. So that was where I started with that. So that way I didn't have to record takes with me in it.
Here is my 3D pen. I don't know what brand it is because I don't see it on here. It was in China. That's all I can say because it was made in China. And I got all these. These are my filaments for my 3D pen. Here's the thing about it. It doesn't have a battery. It has a plug. So you have to plug it in. It has to heat up for like 2 to 10 minutes. And it's kind of about like if you want like it comes out slow or if it comes out fast. And I got stencils. It's a SpongeBob. I did the Eiffel Tower. I actually made glasses. I don't know where I put it though. But the Eiffel Tower did not work out so well.
do you have anything you can show us that you made? Or do you not know where it is?
I know I made like a toy Bonnie because I like Five Nights at Freddy's. But I actually don't know where I put it.
Okay, next time. Get some. This could be your homework for next time.
Awesome things with a 3D printing pen. You should check out Chelsea, who's from Chaos Core Tech. She does some amazing things with a 3D printing pen. I want her to do stuff on her channel, on their channel about it because it's insane and I can't fathom how she does it. It's awesome.
Yeah, also, doesn't it take as long as 3D printing, right? So if you want to make something this big, you have to do the same motions essentially. So it's going to take like 3 hours just going in a circle. That's what, like, I don't understand how they work. I need to buy one. They're not that expensive.
I think
I think the one thing that they found out was that she really needed to switch off between them. She was having them go for too long at once. So one ended up shutting down, if I remember correctly. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me in the chat, but I'm pretty sure that's what she said. So they ended up getting an additional one sent out to her from the company because hers failed. And now she switches off and on from one to the next so that it doesn't overheat and die.
Why don't we hop to the next question? After attending Maker and seeing so many lasers and CNC machines, do you think that their next 3D printing genre, or would they be incorporated with them?
I think it would be awesome to be able to incorporate them into 3D printing. I can think of so many ways that I could do that, and I totally want one in my life. But they're also just really cool in general, and you can create some really amazing things with them. So I'm sure that it will be its own awesome genre, but I think you can definitely incorporate them into 3D printing.
Okay, so I figured out what type this is by reading the YouTube chat from my dad on there. It's actually a D-Wing X4 pen. So it's from China. That's why it's called D-Wing X4. I have to say it's really cool. It's like we have to press the button while it comes down. I think you can actually hit it twice and it'll just keep on going. But like you have to be careful because like if you hit it and you want to stop, it may keep going a little bit. But then you have to like cut it off, which I don't like.
Molly, have you ever done anything or like seen things that are laser cut?
I've seen like these satisfying videos where they have like this nozzle that goes around the steel, like steel cut, I guess. I don't know. I actually really don't think I've seen a laser cutter. They sound cool, like how it's just, technically it's just a laser that cuts stuff, right? I mean, like it moves around in certain ways, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you can hit like a picture and then it knows where to trace out the outline.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'd love to have one, but I don't have any space left in my flat.
That's the problem I have too. But here we have Tech Shop, which is awesome, and so I use their laser cutters all the time. I probably do more laser cutting than 3D printing sometime. But the nice thing about laser cutters is you get really nice finished looking parts, like that one over here. For our wedding a couple years ago, we laser cut and 3D printed centerpieces and table numbers. So we made 25 of these, and so this is laser cut, you can see, and that's like engraved.
Wow, that's so cool.
But the center part was printed, so they work really well together for if you've got something that you want like a nice shiny finished surface, you can laser cut it. If you need something to like really intricate and lock your electronics in, then the 3D printer was really good. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for 3D printing plus laser cutters.
And for Lauren, she asked me a question. Are there more female makers in my age group? I actually don't know, because when I'm at school, most people are like, what the heck is 3D printing? I want it. It sounds cool. Try it yourselves, please. Because like it can get pricey, but at least try and get like a cheap one. Like, you know, it'd be cool to experience it for yourselves. But I actually don't know anybody else that has a 3D printer. Oh, except my friend's dad. He can print multicolor. I saw like a flower, so it has like a purple stem with a purple base, and then like it stops and it goes yellow up. It's really cool. So one person I know, but it isn't at her house. It's like somewhere else.
A lot of libraries are doing 3D printing, so if you don't have one, your local library might have one.
I actually went to my local library. I don't think it has one. It has computers,
You should
but
tell them to get one.
hopefully I can persuade them.
Lauren, are there many women close by that you know that are into 3D printing?
Sadly, no. I mean, Maine's a really small community. I mean, it's a large state, but Southern Maine, do you know of any? I mean, there's a couple maker spaces up in Portland, which is about 45 minutes from here. I haven't had a chance to go up there to see, so there might be. I know that there's a lot of women woodworkers in the area, but I don't know of any really 3D printing related makers. There's a lot of jewelry makers, and there's a lot of like painters and stuff like that, but I don't know of a whole lot of 3D printer related makers in the area.
I don't think I know that much about wood cutting. Can you explain to me what that kind of is? Because obviously you cut wood somehow, but can you explain that to me, please, Lauren?
There's a lot of furniture makers, so people who are using routers and lathes and stuff like that to turn legs and to create these sometimes amazing works of art. and people, just carpenters in general who are in the area, but not a whole lot in terms of 3D printing that I know of.
Thank you.
Yeah, I need to look because I live in Seattle, which is like a pretty tech-centric city. So there's probably, like, I haven't even looked if there's any meetup groups. There probably are. My problem is, like, none of my friends are into 3D printing. So it's, like, awkward for me to go by myself. And it would probably be a lot of middle-aged men, which is fine, but... Would you say, Sam?
Just talk to your friends about 3D printing until they want one too. I've gotten that to work a few times.
I keep making my friends little gifts. That's working pretty well. Like the other day, my friend's like, "Can you model me a key ring?" So I made like a little elephant, and the trunk goes around and hooks onto it.
That's neat. Do you still have it? Oh, wait, you gave it to your friend. Oops, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you gave it. I thought you still had it, but I'm like, oh yeah, she made it for her friend. That's a dumb question.
Yeah, I think I have a picture somewhere, but.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I don't know, maybe not so many people here in Liechtenstein that are into 3D printing, and I might be the only one. Only woman, I don't know.
Maybe
And
great people you know, and they could.
I don't know anybody. No, I'm 51, and I'm not the youngest anymore. So, and I don't know. Maybe I will meet one day.
You probably will.
Yeah. Yeah, in July there's a fair in the Lake of Constance, 15th and 16th of July. That's not too far away from me here, and I will go and see. Maybe I will meet somebody, to get in touch with. Would be cool.
I think there's a whole pool of people who maybe would be into 3D printing, but they don't know about it yet. So maybe it's on us to get out there and show people 3D printing so they can be into it, and then we'll know more people into 3D printing.
I would so want to do that job, which I probably already am.
Yeah, I want to set up a thing down at our local library. We live in a really tiny town, but I still think our library would be a great place to show. I know that they don't have a 3D printer down there, but I think it would be really cool to go down there and teach people about 3D printing, and also the local high schools right down the street. And I don't think they have a 3D printing program either, but that would be really cool as well.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have to go now from the live stream.
Oh.
I don't want to do, but I have to do something, I guess. Well, I'll try and keep in touch through Twitter on my dad's phone.
Well, thanks for coming, Molly.
I'm glad I could come. Okay, bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
She is so cool.
So cute. Oh my gosh.
When I think back how shy I was at her age, oh my goodness. You could have never ever put me in front of a camera. I wouldn't have said a word.
Yeah, rocket scientist in the making for sure.
I'm trying to catch up on the chat, so if
Yeah,
I
I'm
look
doing the
like
same. It was somebody.
that's why.
Somebody said. Who said it?
I didn't have a look at it at all.
Apparently, we're talking about sharks and freaking lasers.
Oh,
Laser. Okay.
Oh my
So I've
God.
never. That's from some movie that I've never seen, and somebody made that in a comment in like one of my videos where I laser cut things. I'm like, what are they talking about?
That was Austin Powers. You have to watch it. It's funny.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't remember who said it, but somebody said in the chat it takes a technical person to run a 3D printer, and like I get that, but also I think that's a thing we need to dispel and be like anyone can 3D print, like, because if it's also like only engineers can 3D print, then it's only people who are going to do it.
I think there's a big difference between people who are naturally technical and people who are willing to jump into the technical if they have to. I don't think you have to be a technical person to be able to jump into it, but you have to be willing to learn that side of it. Otherwise, you will have failures and you won't know how to fix them. But I don't think you have to be technical by any means, because I don't really think I'm that technical and I can figure it out.
I think that's what turns off a lot of people with 3D printing. They're like, oh, I will have this like giant machine that does things and I need to know how to make it do things. And it's like, you do. And like I'm not that technical, and like I can troubleshoot how to make the machine, like the machines go. Honestly, like I probably call like a Taz support or Lulzbot support like at least once a week to help me. But like, it's not just a thing for people who like machinery. I think it should be a thing for a large group of people.
Yeah, I think that aspect is pretty intimidating to a lot of people, because at first they were. Like with the cupcake, it was a whole mess of boards and electronics and wires. But now they're reliable enough that you don't need to have like, a PhD in engineering to be able to figure out why your print is failing. And even if that's not an aspect of it that you're not interested in, if you don't want to spend all your time fiddling with machine, there's all these sites like 3D Hubs and Shapeways where you can get, and Sculptio, where you can get parts made, and then you don't need to worry about whether the print turns out or not, because that's someone else's problem. But even then, like my Ultimaker 2 has been just great to work with compared to the sort of troubleshooting I used to have to go to before, and they've only gotten better since then.
I think nowadays, as we have YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook with all these groups and channels and troubleshooting stuff, I think it's not a big problem anymore. I think you can find an answer to the problem that you have in no time.
Yeah, because I started trying to make 3D printers do things in like January. And I think now I'm getting to the point where I can get like 70% of the prints not to fail, which is like still not that great of a statistic, but.
Yeah, if I get half my prints to work off the bat, I consider it good. I figure it just needs practice.
Yeah. Also, like the technology is pretty good at this point, but it's still not. I hope in like the next 5 years it gets really, really good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like anything. Like when you first start cooking, the stuff you make probably doesn't turn out that good.
But that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's trial and error. You always learn from your failures. So I had so much failures with my printers in the beginning, but that kept me going because I really wanted to know why it's failing. And then I tinkered a little bit and I learned from it. And I thought, okay, now I know what I have to do the next time, so it works, and it does, and you feel really proud of yourself that you were able to figure out. Yeah.
It's also, so last night I was watching the stream with 3D Maker Noob, and it was really funny because they're talking about like, some days I can't get my printer to work at all. I just hate it. I just don't touch it for a week, and it's the worst. And it's funny because all those people are way more experienced than me. It's funny that they have like the exact same problems, just because that's just how it is. Like 3D printers are just very, very finicky sometimes, even if you have like a good one.
Yeah, even on an expensive one, the nozzle can clog. So yeah, it's not only on the cheap ones.
Yeah, even like the $1 million machines I've worked with are just as finicky as the little like $500 desktop ones. So that's just 3D printing at all levels, and you just kind of have to know what things you can control about your environment and what things you can't, and work within that.
Yeah, let's hop to another question. Has anybody thought about vocational programs to expand their opportunities and interest? Is this specifically in 3D printing, or?
Yes.
I don't even, are there like 3D printing schools? I don't think there are.
There's an online class. There's a couple of them online that I think they're free. If you go on like Coursera and edX, there's a couple of different ones. There's ones that are like more for industrial design, and then there's ones for just like getting into 3D printing.
So I guess that begs the question though, should there be in vocational school, should there be 3D printing more than there currently is?
I think everyone should learn how to 3D print, but I'm a little biased.
True, very true.
I think it's interesting because I think I've read some stuff online. People were like, in the future, we're all gonna have 3D printers, and like whenever you need anything, you're just gonna print it out on your desktop or internet that you have at home. And I think if that's the case, then yes. But I don't know if that's where the technology is gonna go. Like, I hope it is, because that would be super cool. But
Yeah, I think it's not just like press and play. I think, yeah, you really have to be interested.
But at some point, will the technology get good enough? Will be just press and play?
Yeah, as I said before, when you have your nozzle clogging or other stuff that happens, you have to know how to help yourself. And I don't know if many people they have the patience, to get things figured out.
I think we'll see it get kind of localized. It isn't necessarily that maybe everyone will have a 3D printer in their house, but everyone will have a 3D printer kind of, at the post office or at the local like Kinko shop that they can go and get parts from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people have to remember that it's not a toy. It is a piece of machinery. And just as you need to learn how to use a table saw and you need to understand how to use a drill, same goes for a 3D printer. It is a piece of machinery. It's not plug and play. And yeah, maybe at some point it will be, but even then there's still going to be things that you have to know about it and you have to understand about it. Just as with a table saw, you need to understand, the kickback that can happen and how to avoid that. Same goes, and I think some people want it to be like a toy where you can plug in and print this cool little trinket, but I don't think that that's really realistic in most aspects.
Yeah.
Will it be like everyone? So like most people have like a drill in their house, right? Just for things that you have to do with your life. I hope one day everyone will have like a 3D printer and they're like, oh, I just need to print this, plastic part. I will just go download the thing and print it out. Do you think that will ever happen?
I hope so. It's really useful. I mean, it's nice as far as like if you've got things like parts, your washing machine or something, and they don't make that part anymore, that you still have a way to repair it. It's amazing, and there's a lot of people doing cool stuff with that.
So follow-up question to that, Nick just asked, do any of you see 3D printing as a way of bringing self-sufficiency back into the limelight in this country, similar to the rise in people gardening?
I think if you're like into 3D modeling enough, then it makes sense to own a 3D printer, because like if you need like a command hook, you don't want to go buy a command hook. You can just model whatever you want for your command hook, right? You can make it like a little hand or whatever. If you like things like that, I think if you have like the knowledge, then it's super useful, because you can fix your washer machine. You can print out little parts that you need. There's something where my friend's thing was broken. I'm like, oh, we could just make that part. Oh, someone came into the lab and they're like, hey, I need to make like a medical eye patch for my sister, and they're really expensive to buy. So we're trying to figure out how we could 3D print the part for it, because this needs to be hard and plastic. So I think things like that, if you have kind of the knowledge, then that kind of opens up a lot of stuff for you, which is super cool.
There's more places now that are putting parts online too, like the 3D models. McMasterCard has a lot of their catalog that you can download a model for. So if you need just kind of standard parts, you can look it up and hopefully see either someone else has posted the model or you can figure out how to adjust their model to get what you need.
Yeah, I think that the majority of the people will not be able or not willing to learn how to use a CAD software. I think they will just want to download stuff and just print it.
I think that's an interesting point there, especially, so I think the reason people maybe aren't willing to learn CAD software is because CAD software is just hard to use. 3D printing's come a long way in being difficult to use and then gotten easier to use. But I think CAD software has been a little bit behind the curve there.
That goes into Chuck's question a little bit. He asked, what software are you girls using to design your prints? So I think that depending on what software you use, it can be complicated. There are obviously ones that are easier to work with than others. Tinkercad is a super user-friendly place to start. I do use that from time to time. I use Fusion 360 a ton. I use SketchUp a little bit. I'm starting to use Vectory, which is an online-based program, and a couple others. I mean, I tried to jump around because I want to learn what different programs can do, but there are definitely some programs that are much more user-friendly and easier to use than others. So what else do you guys use?
Yeah, I cannot say so much, but I'm just starting. But I also got interested in Vectory. Is it easy to use? Is it self-declaring or?
It's fairly easy to use. I literally just started looking at it this week, so I have very little experience with it, but I will be doing a video on me learning how to use it because I think that that part of it is pretty interesting to see how I kind of work my way around a program to figure out how it works. So hopefully that will help others.
Oh, that would be awesome.
What program is this?
It's Vectory. I'll put a link to it in the chat.
Okay.
Cool. I haven't heard of that one. I've been using Fusion 360 a lot lately just because they've been adding new features literally every week. So it's been really fun to see that evolve from something that was like kind of closer to Tinkercad into something that's like full-fledged like engineering industrial CAD. But the learning curve on those is a little steeper. I think Onshape's a pretty good one too, or if you're doing more like technical CAD. And then other ones I've used is like Rhino, Tinkercad, and then at work I use Siemens NX, which is like full-on engineering CAD.
Yeah, I mean, I've been using all of like 3D Fusion or 360 Fusion 360. I've like used Onshape a little bit, and then Tinkercad obviously, but then also Sculptress, which is it's organic modeling. So basically, you just start out with a sphere, and then you can pull it into whatever shape you want.
Like sculpting?
Yeah, I think it's by ZBrush, but it's free, and it's also really dumbed down. Like you have like a grab tool. There's like 6 tools you have. Yeah, it's like super easy to use though. I really like it.
Oh, I'd love to try it. Sounds like lots of fun.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the description. At some point, I think I'm gonna put a video where I'm using it at some point, but
a lot of the more sculptural modeling gets interesting because people are starting to combine that with VR. And I think that gets you a lot closer to like more of a real experience compared to what most people are familiar with and comfortable with as far as 3D modeling, as opposed to like needing to think about everything in geometric primitives.
Yeah, it's like definitely 2 different things. It's very interesting. There's a whole different stream where it was like 3 people who use organic modeling and 3 people who use CAD modeling, and they all talked about it. It was interesting.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the package that does both. Super easy. Fusion's starting to get there.
I agree. Claire, if you like the kind of more organic side of things, you might like the sculpt mode in Fusion 360 because it's kind of similar to that. But it has a lot more flexibility to it.
I have not dived that deep into Fusion 360 at all. Like I basically only use the sketch and then the extrude. Like this is 2 tools I've used. And like you can do a lot with that, but
it's a good place to start.
No, at some point I'm gonna have to learn SolidWorks for my job, but like we haven't got it yet. Still waiting for it, so.
There was one what did I see the other day? There was one that was like a 3D sketcher where you were kind of sketching in space, and then you could export that as a 3D print. It was an iPad app or something. I forget what it was called.
Also, Sam, what do you do for your job?
Oh, I do CAD support, so I'm very heavily in the CAD side. I teach engineers how to do CAD all day long, and I help them troubleshoot when things go wrong, or if it's a question of like, oh, how do I model this?
That's cool.
Gravity sketch. That's what I was thinking.
Really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, I'm always up for CAD tips. If you have something that's like, why doesn't this make sense?
Next time I need help with CAD software, I'll call you.
Yeah, Gravity Sketch is the next one I want to try out. I think it's more on the organic side. And it's closer to like the sort of 3D pen sort of output.
My niece plays with that one on my mom's iPad and she loves it. I wish that they had it for Android and I would totally use it, but it's Apple only, which is a bummer.
I know I want to try VR Sketch, but like I need to get my hands on a VR.
I went to the mall because they had a demo there to try Tilt Brush. That was pretty cool.
Does anyone in the chat have any other questions? Yes, Keith, there is a sculpt mode in Fusion 360. I think it's when, I don't have it open right now, so I can't tell you exactly, but when you click, if you click on like the little purple cube, that will automatically drop you into sculpt mode. And I think also where you click model off to the left-hand side on the top, you can drop down to sculpt mode in that as well.
Yeah, they have some, if you're in Fusion, there's like a little question mark. You can go to the help thing and it takes you to a page where basically they explain what this function is doing and what sort of inputs it's expecting from you to do it. So I use that a ton when I've been learning it.
Yeah, someday I just need to spend like 3 hours watching Fusion 360 videos until I understand how to do everything. Okay, I need to actually bounce soon. So I think what should we do to close up? Because we already talked about what we're working on.
Whose other work are you excited to see coming up? Are there any projects that other people are working on that you want to see?
I'm interested in this SLR printers, the DPL printers.
Oh, I want one of those too. Finally, they're starting to make like cheap ones.
I'm going to the Formlabs Fuse event next week, and I'm super excited to see them, but I'm sure it's going to make me just want to buy one even more, and I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that too. It's hard to justify the SLA ones because the resin expires, I think. And so you have to go through a lot of it.
I will use the crap out of it so that I can justify it.
Yeah, me too. I'm waiting for one that I backed up a while ago. It's a very tiny one from Makex, and it's called M Jewelry. But those Kickstarter things, they take a while to show up. I'm gonna make jewelry with it. I'm gonna invest and cast jewelry in silver.
Oh, that's
this
awesome.
is what I've planned.
Yeah, I think SLA pen, I think is the thing I'd want to get first, right? Those are super cool.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it's just like it's a little light and it doesn't out of it.
Like resin for it to cure? Like
yeah.
Oh, pretty cool.
Yeah, we have something like that at work. In the dentistry, they work with stuff like that, like curing resins.
I'm trying to think. I've been trying to think what videos I've been watching lately. I think there's a channel, I think it's by William Osman. It's basically this guy who built his own laser cutter. and he makes videos about trying to laser cut random things, and they're great. And he always wears cat shirts. So I think that's a good, that's not 3D printing, but he does a lot of other engineering things. Like he tried to, it was basically a backpack for his dog with a thing with a hot dog that sat at the end, and then it would turn when his dog turned to try. The dog, it didn't work, of course, because it's a dog. It just sat there. But so if you're interested in engineering and laser cutting, you should watch that channel.
That sounds awesome. At Tech Shop last year, they were laser cutting pumpkins around Halloween.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other channel suggestions before we head out?
I'm going to do another shout out to Chaos Cortec. Their live streams, I think they've been doing every week, are amazing. And they're kind of like, have lately been doing suggestions, and people are modeling along with him in ZBrush, which I've never used, but I like the idea of. So I've been really enjoying their live streams for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty new to all the YouTube live streaming stuff, so send me all your suggestions so I can get caught up.
Oh, what about you, Kat? What do you watch?
Yeah, random. I just I'm interested in so much things, you know. Sometimes it's yeah, keeps me going by myself, you know, to get my stuff sorted out. I need to record so many things. I have so many ideas on my mind. Yeah, so I for instance, I just printed this crazy thing here, this QSN from Russ, you know. So I just like to try stuff, crazy stuff. So it's about 80%. It came out nice. Yeah.
That looks amazing.
That was on boards.
Yeah, it's this.
I
It's
saw
this
those
cute,
in person at Maker Faire or at the Matter Hackers meetup, and it's amazing. And I can't believe that you did one. That's awesome.
But you know what? As I stopped using Simplify 3D at the moment, because the two printers I just got, they're running with Cura, and so I thought, okay, I'm gonna try Cura because I haven't tried before. And you know, Cura, you cannot set the supports anywhere. So some of those little things there got destroyed, me trying to take out the supports out of there. But the funny thing is that although Cura puts the supports randomly, you can really get them off really easily. For instance,
I think
this
they just
thing here.
updated it recently, because the last few prints I've had, the supports have just completely like removed cleanly. And before,
Yeah.
I spent forever like etching away. Actually, my husband once like gouged himself really badly trying to clean off supports with a little knife. Like it got kind of dangerous for a while, and I'm glad it's a lot better now.
And you know, look, this polyalchemy here, it doesn't forgive anything. You really see every little bump when there's something that just doesn't want to come off. But it was embedded in support structures, but they really came off, and you don't see where they were. It's really amazing. Yeah.
Can I ask what version you guys are using?
Cura, you know, Simplify 3D or Cura?
Cura.
Came out. Yeah.
I'm using the 2.5.
Okay, I'm using 2.4 still, and the supports are a nightmare, so I should definitely upgrade to 2.5.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a filament. Please try polyalchemy, and do not and maybe if it still doesn't come off that easily, maybe you have to drop the temperature a little bit more.
We had really clean support removal on the Semiflex recently. With the
Nice.
Okay. Cool. I actually need to go. I'm sorry. Thank you everyone so much for being here / watching. This is always great. This is my favorite. Sam, I think I think next week or next month. Next month it sounds like Heather is going to host, which I'm excited for.
Cool.
So everyone.
Yeah, and just a reminder to everybody, we're doing this every first Saturday of the month at 12:30, so it is now officially a standing thing.
Yeah, next time we need a logo. A logo we need.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to make the logo the background on the stream, like on the waiting stream thing in YouTube. But me and Barb are working on having a model to 3D print it because I have all the files right now still.
Now that would be cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna happen. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Bye.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. It was big fun.
Bye, guys.